Welcome to the Deep Dive. We try to cut through all the information overload and really focus on the insights that matter. And today, we're plunging into the world of electric vehicles. It's pretty clear that 2025 is, well, shaping up to be a really transformative year. Our mission for this deep dive is to unpack the wealth of information you provided us with. We'll cover the latest innovations, the big market shifts, and also how the whole service landscape for EVs is evolving. We're basically here to pull out the most important takeaways, maybe some surprising connections from the material, and just give you a shortcut to being genuinely well-informed about this whole fast-moving field.
Exactly. And this deep dive, it's a great chance to look beyond just the headlines. We want to get into the why behind all the excitement, why EVs in 2025, and connect the dots between the tech advancements and what it actually means for you, the consumer, in the real world.
Okay, yeah. Let's unpack this then. What's genuinely shifting with electric vehicles this year? It seems like there are maybe three big themes emerging from the sources. We're seeing some incredible new technology, a real explosion of new models hitting the road, and definitely improvements in charging infrastructure. Let's maybe dive into the new models first.
Yeah.
Because it feels like they're becoming much more accessible, but also performance is really stepping up. I mean, the material we looked at is some great examples, like Citroën bringing out the C5 Aircross Electric with, what, over 600 kilometers of autonomy?
Right, that's impressive range. And they've also got the compact EC3.
And Hyundai, they've got this Inster crossover coming in around 25,000 euros, which sounds quite competitive.
Yeah, and that MG2 city car described as very economical, so targeting different price points.
Definitely. And it's across all segments, which I think is really key. You've got compacts like that Citroën EC3 and the MG2, and crossovers like the Hyundai Inster, and a whole bunch of new SUVs too. The Hyundai Ioniq 9, Peugeot's E3008, and E5008 Suzuki Vitara.
Don't forget the BMW iX2 as well, and that Hyundai Ioniq 7, the one with 7 seats and ultra-fast charging. That's pretty interesting for larger families.
Exactly, 7 seats and ultra-fast charging. Plus, updates to existing popular models like the Tesla Model 3, also pushing over 600-kilometer range, and Peugeot's got that sleek E408 fastback coming.
So what this huge variety really means for you, the listener, is just immense choice. It's not just more choice, but choice across different types of cars, different budgets, and you're getting better performance plus significantly more affordable options becoming available. It really makes EVs a much more, concrete reality for a much wider audience than ever before.
Yeah, it feels like it's moving properly into the mainstream now.
Definitely.
Okay, so beyond just the cars themselves, I was really struck by the advancements in batteries and charging. I mean, that's often the sticking point, right?
Yeah.
When I read about solid-state batteries potentially offering over 1,000 kilometers and this ultra-rapid charging, it really does feel like we're on the edge of something big. Can you walk us through that?
Absolutely. And this is where it gets incredibly exciting. The promise of solid-state batteries is, it's huge. Potential autonomy over 1,000 kilometers, faster recharging. Now, these might still be a few years out, maybe arriving around 2027. Companies like Nissan and Renault are putting serious money into it. But the groundwork for that future is being laid right now. And what we are seeing debut in 2025 are these ultra-rapid charging stations.
Right, the ones capable of getting you to 80% in less than 10 minutes.
Exactly, less than 10 minutes. And this isn't just a lab experiment. We're seeing actual, tangible expansion of this infrastructure. Your sources mentioned Milan, Brescia, Bergamo, Cremona in Italy, and big European cities like Berlin and Paris, too.
So it's actually happening on the ground.
It is. And that infrastructure growth makes adopting an EV just much, much easier, much more practical day to day. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, these advances directly tackle those two major worries people had: range anxiety and charging time.
Yeah, the big barriers.
Totally. A potential 1,000-kilometer range and a 10-minute top-up. That completely changes the game for user experience. Practical convenience is finally catching up.
And it's not just the hardware getting smarter, is it? The sources also talk a lot about autonomous driving and AI integration. New EVs are getting these sophisticated AI systems. Safer driving, more autonomous features, like that Volkswagen Trinity project, aiming for level 4 economy, where the car literally, as the research says, transforms the driver into a passenger.
And that raises a really profound question, doesn't it? What does that level of autonomy actually mean for the driving experience? And maybe even more broadly, how will it reshape transport beyond 2025? It feels like a fundamental shift in how we relate to our cars.
That is a powerful point, a fundamental shift. And were we talking like a total reimagining of car ownership eventually? Or is it more gradual? Like, what are the immediate shifts people might notice, even before we get full level 4 everywhere?
Well, initially, I think you'll see more advanced driver assistance systems becoming standard. Things that handle, boring highway driving or tricky parallel parking, making commutes less stressful. But the longer term vision, especially with level 4, is potentially cars becoming mobile offices or entertainment spaces, freeing up all that travel time.
So cars as extensions of our living space, almost.
Sort of, yeah. More than just getting from A to B.
And this fundamental shift, it's already showing up in the market numbers, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
All this innovation seems to be fueling some serious growth. The data pointed to a 27.8% jump in EV registrations in Italy in just the first half of 2025.
That's right, 27.8%. That's not just a small increase, it's a significant acceleration. It suggests Italy might be hitting that mass adoption phase for EVs, maybe faster than some expected, a real shift in consumer attitude.
Okay, so with all these rapid changes happening, let's bring it back to the listener. If you're actively thinking about maybe getting an electric vehicle now, what are the real practical advantages, day-to-day benefits?
There are some really compelling reasons. Firstly, there's just the superior energy efficiency. An electric motor is incredibly efficient, like 80% to 90% efficient.
Compared to what for a normal engine? Like
30, 40% on a good day for a thermal engine, yeah. So much less energy is just wasted as heat. And that efficiency translates into that instant torque, that responsive feel when you drive. It's quite different.
Okay, efficiency. What else?
Then there are the lower running costs. This is a big one. EVs need less maintenance, fewer moving parts, no oil changes, no filters or fluids in the same way. And maybe more importantly, the cost of charging versus gasoline. Your sources mentioned potential annual savings that could even exceed 1,600 euros compared to a similar petrol car.
Wow, 1,600 euros. That's pretty substantial.
It really is. That puts the daily savings into perspective, doesn't it?
Definitely.
And of course, environmentally, there are zero local emissions, no harmful gases, no fine dust coming out the tailpipe while you're driving. That's a direct benefit for air quality in cities, for public health.
Right, cleaner air where we live.
And for people living in cities, there's also the urban accessibility and convenience factor. EVs often get exemptions from traffic restrictions, free access to limited traffic zones, ZTLs in Italy and similar zones elsewhere, and sometimes even dedicated or free parking. Those are real perks that make city driving easier.
Yeah, navigating city centers can be a pain, so that helps.
And finally, just the enhanced driving comfort. It's quiet, it's smooth. That lack of engine noise and the fluid acceleration, it genuinely reduces stress and fatigue. Makes for a much more pleasant journey, whether it's your commute or a longer drive.
Okay, those advantages certainly paint a very compelling picture for anyone thinking about an EV. But let's be real for a second. No tech is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Are there still some significant trade-offs, maybe a steeper learning curve that might make people hesitate, despite all these benefits?
That's a fair point. Look, while the charging infrastructure is improving dramatically, as we said, for some people, especially if you can't charge easily at home, planning public charging still takes a bit more thought than just pulling into any gas station.
Right, requires a slight shift in habit.
Exactly. And the upfront purchase price, even with more affordable models coming online like the Inster or MG2, can still sometimes be higher than an equivalent petrol car, though government incentives often help close that gap.
In the learning curve.
For the actual driving. Minimal, really. But yeah, understanding the different charging speeds, connector types, maybe downloading a couple of apps, there's a small adjustment period. But honestly, as the sources show, these hurdles are shrinking fast as the whole ecosystem matures.
That's a good dose of realism. It acknowledges the nuances, but still highlights that positive direction. Okay, so let's talk about another common concern. Service and maintenance. How is that side of things evolving to keep up with all these new EVs on the road?
Yeah, that's a really valid question people have. And the good news is it's improving quickly. The material confirms that specialized workshops are definitely operational already. It mentions examples in Italy like Energeco, e-mobility service. These places offer the whole range: repairs, servicing spare parts specifically for EVs. They have trained staff, the right equipment for high-voltage systems.
So the expertise is building up.
Absolutely. And the wider auto repair sector is investing heavily in ongoing training and technical upgrades. This is really crucial. EVs need specific skills, especially around those high-voltage batteries and complex electronics. Your sources mention things like Bosch's Hybrid Electric Specialist Program initiatives designed to get workshops ready.
Okay, so training is happening. Is the network actually expanding too?
It is. While the network of fully specialized EV workshops is still growing, there's definitely continuous investment happening in expanding it, getting the right tools, the right diagnostic gear out there more widely.
Right. And what about the cost? Is servicing an EV more expensive?
Okay, let's talk about evolving service costs. It's true that if something goes wrong out of warranty, particularly a major component like the battery, the repair can be more expensive than for a conventional car. That's a possibility. However, and this is a really important counterpoint from the sources, EVs generally have greater inherent reliability. Fewer moving parts means fewer things to break. Plus, you get those extended warranties, often 8 years, or even more specifically on the battery.
Okay, so the chances of needing a major expensive repair early on are actually lower.
Exactly. The probability of serious failures in the short to medium term is significantly reduced by both the car's design and that long warranty coverage. It helps balance out that potential cost concern down the line.
Got it. So the service network is still a work in progress, but it sounds like the improvements are happening fast and the overall reliability plus warranties offer some good reassurance. All right, as we start to wrap up this deep dive, it's just crystal clear that 2025 is a genuinely significant moment for electric vehicles. We've seen this amazing blend of new models becoming much more accessible, really groundbreaking tech in batteries and charging, clear benefits for consumers, and that service landscape maturing rapidly. It's a very dynamic picture.
Absolutely. I think the sources really paint a clear picture. Electric mobility isn't just getting more viable or more attractive. It feels like it's making that decisive shift, from being a niche interest to becoming a proper mainstream reality. The momentum is just undeniable now.
So thinking about all these advancements we've discussed, 1,000-kilometer batteries on the horizon, level 4 autonomy potentially transforming the driver into a passenger, how might these developments not just change how we drive, but maybe fundamentally reshape our cities, our daily lives? What kind of world are we actually building with these vehicles? Something to perhaps mull over. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the really fascinating evolution of electric vehicles. Keep exploring,